So I see the clock is already in, okay, 15 minutes.
That's it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me today here to Israel. Really, for me as a Europol member, it's really an honor to be here. It's a privilege to be listening to some important figures that we just listened to the Minister of Justice of Israel, some distinguished speakers. And for me, as a Spanish, also has a special meaning being here today. For two reasons. I'm from Sevilla. I'm from Al-Andalus. I'm Mediterranean. So for me to have the flavor of Mediterranean here in Israel really is a privilege. Really, it's bringing me back to my childhood when I was studying and living in Sevilla. So thank you for that. And thank you for being Israel. Thank you for help us and teach us how to fight against terrorism. Spain, we suffer a lot from terrorism. You are aware of that. You are suffering a lot from terrorism. We exchange information. We learn a lot from each other. So thank you for being an example of fighting against terrorism. We try to bring this spirit also inside the European Union dimension. Today, in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to try to drive you what are the efforts that are taking place now at the operational level at the European Union domain. Thank you for the 2 minutes extra. I'll try to show you about how is now the European Union dimension of security is building up now, how we are moving forward, develop really strong component of security inside the European Union. Because we need to. Because we face an unprecedented challenge. Unprecedented challenge that is also to make this PowerPoint presentation to work. It's not working? No. Do you have a magic word to say, go ahead, move forward? Do you have to press any button?
The last guy you want to ask is me. No. You have someone here working on the audio? Help us? Need someone young.
You might just stop the clock because I want to save my time.
You see technology? Modern technology. Okay, it's working.
Nope.
It's not working.
There's no working.
Okay.
Shall I throw it to them? No? Yes, now it's working. Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, I will take you through the context, why we think that it's more than ever needed to develop the European Union security dimension. In fact, you had the chance on Wednesday to meet also with Mr. Gilles de Kerkhoff, the coordinator for counter-terrorism in the European Union at the policy level, also to Mr. The representative from Pedro Serrano, representative for the External Action Service. So they will describe the situation at the policy level. I'm going to have operational background, try to go operationally how we are moving forward into the European Union dimension against terrorism. So I'll give you some detail about the context, the challenge, and what is our response right now, online and offline. Well, I think that you are aware how difficult we have in 2014, 15 especially, and 2016. We were struck many times by terrorist attack in Europe. We killed many European Union citizens, also citizens all throughout the world, and also we suffer in different other countries, such as Tunisia and other countries with Western Tango was a target for terrorist groups. This really was quite similar to 9/11 United States. I mean, Europe was suffering for somehow long active phenomenon, isolated individual, but by the way, they are not so isolated. But really, we have no comprehensive response against this isolated phenomenon. When we went back to 2015, and we see especially after Paris and Brussels, we realized that we have to move forward, bringing the European Union dimension of security within the portfolio of Europe. So the challenge that we also have to work against terrorism online and offline. Terrorism have no border. Terrorism, the information on terrorism is volatile. We have a huge amount of information coming from different sources. It's very fast, so we have to grab it and use it. Also, the terrorists, they are moving quite fast. They have a global communication. They use global systems to communicate, and also they intensively use encrypted devices for preserve access from the intelligence and police forces to their own data. And also they are waiting for us. They are prepared to become resilient, they are fast, and they are agile. So we can work together on this specific area, online, again, and offline. We cannot just allow the terrorists to do whatever they like, abusing social media, abusing websites, propagating terrorism, without any limitation for the intelligence, police, and justice, but also with their own providers. And this is one of the main topics I will touch upon later on, about the public and private cooperation to work against terrorism online. The reaction of the European Union was to set up a new feature, a European Counter-Terrorism Center. Why do we need that? The European Union was somehow economical dream. But the security component was not one of the pillars of the security of the European Union. In fact, it still remains pretty much inside the national domain, and the national responsibility. But we need to move forward to build up this pillar inside the European Union. To do so, the Council of Ministers decided to set up this center, bringing experts to provide to the member states strategic analysis, to become an information hub for counterterrorism, to support investigation online, to provide operational support and coordination, and especially to engage with the intelligence and the police services throughout the member states, to make them aware of the existing tools that we have already in the European Union and to use properly in every single case. Very fast, we had the opportunity to engage with the member states. Unfortunately, you may remember, 13th of November 2015 and 22nd of March, the terrorists killed many European citizens throughout the world in Paris and Brussels. We were able to gather a team of experts to support the member states. You have to be aware that EUROPOL, we have no executive power. We are just a platform of communication, but we have strong influence. We set up a task force, we call it Fraternité, when we bring more than 25 experts working with French, our Belgian colleagues, against terrorism, against a terrorist attack they suffered in November and in March. And try to bring the European dimension of these attacks, because after a terrorist attack happened, it's essential for the member state, for the one that suffer, to address two main issues. First is what happened? Second, who did it? We can support the member state on what and who, but it's essential to know especially how, and most important is to identify why this happened. By moving forward into how and why, we can develop indicators. We can identify that another terrorist attack is taking place or is on the preparation to take place in any territory. We can narrow the gap between terrorist activities and the role of the intelligence and the information that we gather inside the police domain. By being closer to the terrorists, identifying how and why, we can make them preventable, because they will be predictable. This is why we set up this task force. This is why we collect almost 18 terabytes of information for the different member states. This is why we exchange almost more than 2,200 messages. Just to give you an idea, a single case, Europol, organized crime, drug dealing, have around 50 to 200 message exchange. We exchange more than 2,200 in Europol. This never happened before. We never have this kind of task force before in place at European Union level. We want to make Fraternité an example to build up the new dimension of the European Union security domain. Bringing a specialist, using all resources available. You see, we use financial intelligence, PNR data, and strongly we use social media data. And we also engage with the industry to help us to support our colleagues from France and Belgium in this case. We set a specific unit to deal with against terrorism online. We are working in operation scanning. We are supporting member states on internet investigation. We share this knowledge with our all the stakeholders, member states, and third parties associated to Europol. And also, we are engaging with the industry on referral, meaning highlighting, flagging contents and accounts that are relevant for dissemination, for spreading out propaganda and terrorist violent content. And this morning I heard some figures about how the private industry is reacting to this request, to this demand from the authorities. We work on most of the platform, and we try to identify who is who, because it's not just identifying the content, also identify who is behind the content, and to grab it to not jeopardize any investigation that any member state, any intelligence service could be following in this specific domain. So we also set up a deconfliction procedure to not to interrupt, not to delay any investigation that, especially at the European Union level, is taking place against terrorism. We identify the content. We request information to the member state via our information system. We grab the information and we refer to the platform. We send it to Facebook, Google, all the platforms that we are working in. And we have been very successful. In almost 92% of the cases, they remove the content on voluntary basis. We have no executive power. We just ask them to remove it. But we have a strong influence of the European Union, and especially now that we engage with the US. We have a strong influence of them. And in 92% of the cases, working in 70 platforms, working in 8 languages, this information was removed. But also we want to share this knowledge, as I mentioned, to the member states. So we set up a platform to share information, but we have just some figures. I'll show you some figures about how many documents that we have there. We have almost 10 years of knowledge regarding religion-inspired terrorism in different languages. We develop specific intelligence packages, such as intelligence notifications, situation reports, terrorism situation report. We are setting up internet forum along with the industry. This is led by the Commission, by the European Commission. We are setting up an advisory group to help us to identify the priorities to work against terrorism online, setting up also a platform expert to deal with terrorism. And at the meantime, we are using all the capabilities that we have inside Europol from cybercrime to enhance the tools that we have available to fight against terrorism online. Internet forensic metadata analysis, data extraction automatic system to identify the one that could be a major target for us to disrupt the way, especially the Daesh and Al-Qaeda, they are abusing social media and websites to propagate the terrorist message. But especially, I'm very proud to engage with the member states. Now we are ready to deploy Europol expert on the spot when a terrorist incident is taking place or a major threat is taking place, and to receive experts from the member state in our headquarters to help us to build up this European Union dimension. We moved from almost no operation support to 56 during the last year on-the-spot support at the member state level. It doesn't mean that the only operation they are running so far at the European Union level. They have more. But 56 times was when Europol was involved and using all the tools that we have available for supporting multinational investigation. And also working online. We support, in 2015, more than 44 operations, again, going beyond national bordering, going on the multinational platform approach to support the member state on investigation online, deploying people on the spot, developing technical product, and also developing operational product that eventually could also be used on the judicial domain to identify the terrorists and to be brought to justice. So the other value of Europol and the European dimension is to really bring the global dimension at the European Union level. We have to move from being nationally oriented on terrorism to be globally oriented against terrorism. And we are not pretending to be the only point of gathering information. In fact, what we are promoting is connectivity. It's not about compiling information, it's about connecting people, connecting experience, connecting the one that they have the information, intelligence, academic, law enforcement, to really make better use of all the information available that we need to fight against terrorism. We have to bring the gap between prevention, removing the content, but also identify who is behind this content, who is promoting the propaganda. And there is no anymore the difference between working against terrorism online and offline. Both have to be working together, and we are trying to bring Europol as a major actor on this specific domain. I was listening this morning about many of the speakers today, and we mentioned that how we are doing in the European Union. I think we are not there yet, bringing the security component of the European Union as the strongest component of the European dimension. However, we are progressing. Thank you very much for your attention.
Muchas gracias,